Miss Jimenez, what is your child's name in this case?
Isai Jose Jimenez.
And how old is Isai?
He is 4.
Who is Isai's father?
Santos Mendoza III.
Is there anyone else who could be his father?
No.
Were you involved in a sexual relationship with anyone else when Isai was conceived?
No.
Has Mr. Mendoza ever denied to you that he's the father?
Yes.
Did other people in your life know about your relationship?
Yes.
Who else knew about your relationship?
My parents, my sisters, my brothers.
Does anyone in Mr. Mendoza's family know about your relationship?
They, at the time, I don't think they did, but obviously they do now.
What about any of his friends?
Oh, yes.
And does anyone on his side of the family or friends have contact with your son?
No.
Has Mr. Mendoza had contact with your son?
No.
When is the last time you were in a relationship with him?
Probably May of 2019.
And so that was 2 months before your son was born?
No, that was...
Oh, I'm sorry. That was...
I had just found out I was pregnant, actually, with him.
Sorry, I did some bad math in my head.
No worries.
But it was prior to your son's birth?
Yes, ma'am.
And since your son has been born, has he seen him ever?
No.
Do you know where Mr. Mendoza lives?
I know where he lives and I know where he works. Yes.
Okay. Where does he live?
His home is in Mission, Texas, but as of now, he's working in Austin, Texas. So that's where he resides as of now.
And where does he work?
At the Tesla plant in Austin.
What kind of work have you known him to do since you all have known each other?
Just electrician.
Do you know what his position is at Tesla?
I believe he is a general foreman.
When is the last time you had contact with him?
Last time I had contact with him was actually, it was like right when I filed child support for him. So I think my son was maybe a couple months old, but that he just talked to me. He didn't ask about my son or anything. He just talked to me for the fact that I was putting him on child support.
And where does your son currently live?
With me in Lockney.
And you want him to continue to live with you?
Yes.
Would you want Mr. Mendoza to have visitation?
If he would like to.
Okay, and you said he's never met him to this point, correct?
No, ma'am, he's never met him.
So would you want that visitation to be supervised?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you think there would be a point where you would trust him to not have supervised visits?
Maybe if he starts showing up and shows me different, but as of now, no.
Does Mr. Mendoza have other children?
Yes, he does.
How many?
3.
Are they under 18?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you know if he has court orders to support those children?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you have any concerns about your safety or your child's safety around Mr. Mendoza?
No, ma'am.
To this day, who has been making decisions for Isai?
Me.
Has Mr. Mendoza ever helped you make decisions?
No, ma'am.
Do you think that he is able to help you make decisions?
Not at this time, no.
Okay. So you haven't had any contact with him at all. Would you ask the court to name you as the conservator who gets to make all the decisions for your child?
Yes.
Do you think it would be difficult to co-parent with Mr. Mendoza?
I don't think so. Because I see the way he is with his other children, so I don't think it would be bad, but
Okay, so it wouldn't be bad, but do you think it would be difficult because you don't have contact with him?
well, yeah,
Okay.
that part, yes.
How is Isai covered under health insurance?
I'm sorry?
How is Isai covered under health insurance?
I have him under medical and dental insurance.
Okay, and how much does the medical insurance cost you per month for just him?
$68.
And does the dental insurance cost another amount?
No, ma'am, it's all included.
Okay, and so you have that through another source.
Yes.
Do you want that to remain using the other source, or would you be asking the court to put to ask Mr. Mendoza to add Isai to his insurance?
No, I would like to leave it the same.
And why would you like that?
Because I don't think that he will actually put him on his insurance.
Okay, so with that, this way you can control if your son is covered.
Yes.
But would it be helpful if Mr. Mendoza was asked to reimburse you for the $68 that you pay?
Yes, ma'am.
During Isai's life, has Mr. Mendoza ever provided you with any money to help?
No, not at all.
Has he ever bought anything for Isai?
No, nothing at all.
Would it be helpful to you if the court ordered retroactive child support to help you with the time that you have not received help from Mr. Mendoza?
Yes, it would.
Are you wanting to change Isai's last name from Jimenez?
No.
So you want him to keep your last name?
Yes.
Do you have any concerns about your information, like your address or telephone number or place of employment being listed in the order?
No, ma'am.
So you're not worried if Mr. Mendoza has your contact information?
No, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I'll pass the witness.
Okay. Ms. Jimenez, do you have anything else that you would like to testify to?
I do not. I don't think so.
Okay, next witness.
I would call Sydney Garza.
Okay, Ms. Garza, raise your right hand. Do you solemnly swear or affirm that the testimony you provide in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, you may lower your hand. You may proceed.
Ms. Garza, where do you work?
With the Texas Attorney General's Office, the Child Support Division.
And what is your position there?
I'm a child support officer.
As part of your duties, do you investigate income for cases in the office?
Yes, I do.
Did you do an investigation of Mr. Mendoza's wages?
Yes, I did.
And what did you find to be Mr. Mendoza's gross monthly income?
$9,812.66.
Thank you, Your Honor. I would pass the witness.
Ms. Jimenez, do you have any other questions of Ms. Garza?
No, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Garza, I hate to put you on the spot, but do you have any history going back 4 years?
Yes, I do.
Okay. Do you have income, gross income for 4 years ago? If the support would have been set 4 years ago?
The farthest it goes back is the first quarter of 2022.
Okay, and what was that income in the first quarter of 2022?
$8,895.14.
And that's just for the quarter, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. Do you have anything on the second quarter? Is it similar to the first quarter?
$10,007.58 for the second quarter of 2022.
And the third quarter of 22?
$10,166.83.
Okay. All right, and let's just, for that whole year of 22, what's the fourth quarter?
$9,779, excuse me, and 41 cents.
Okay. All right. Any other redirect, Ms. Trevino?
No, Your Honor, but if it helps the court, I do have a verification of employment letter from his current employer that I could enter as an exhibit if the court needed more information. But it also, as Ms. Garza stated, we only go, that letter also goes back to 2022.
Okay. So Ms. Garza, has he been employed at the same employer since 22?
Yes, Your Honor. On the
Okay.
verification of employment letter, it states that the start date was November 1st, 2021.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
All right. Any other witnesses, Ms. Trevino?
No, Your Honor, I would rest.
All right, the state is rested. That means they have, and Ms. Garza, you are excused. The state is rested. Thank you for being here. Ms. Jimenez, do you have any other testimony?
No, ma'am. I just hope to get what's best for my son. I mean, he hasn't been there since day one. He hasn't contacted in any kind of way or anything. And so,
All right. Do you also rest?
yes.
All right. A close, Ms. Trevino?
Your Honor, we would just ask that the parent-child relationship be established by between Santos Mendoza and Isai Jimenez, and that Miss Jimenez's wishes be taken into account for the name to remain Jimenez. I do have some calculations for the current child support using the gross monthly income of $9,812.66, if the court would like that, taking into account 3 other children.
Okay, what is that figure?
The projected monthly support obligation at 14.75% would be $1,107.84.
Okay.
And we would ask that the mother be allowed to continue to provide medical insurance through another source, and that the cash medical support reimbursement be $68 a month.
Okay.
And the retroactive to the court's discretion.
All right. Anything else you're requesting, Ms. Jimenez, other than what the state has requested?
No, ma'am.
All right, give me just a little bit to do some math. I do find that Mr. Mendoza is the father of Isai Jimenez, and I'm sorry that I mispronounced his name in the beginning.
Yeah, fine.
And does have a duty to support the child. There is substantial evidence to indicate that Mr. Mendoza is the father of the child. No paternity testing was completed, but there is testimony regarding the relationship and the birth of the child. I will name Miss Jimenez, the sole managing conservator of the child, with Mr. Mendoza being named the possessory conservator of the child. Ms. Jimenez will have the exclusive right to determine the primary residence of the child without regard to geographic location. The last name of the child will remain Jimenez. Current child support will be set at $1,107.84 beginning August 1st, 2024. Ms. Jimenez will be ordered to maintain health insurance and dental insurance through another source, and Mr. Mendoza will be ordered to pay $68 per month cash medical support beginning August 1st, 2024. As to possession and access, I'm going to order a modified possession schedule due to the lack of possession in the past, with the 10 visits, first 10 visits being supervised by Ms. Jimenez or someone Ms. Jimenez designates. This possession, due to the distance between Ms. Jimenez and Mr. Mendoza, would be the first Saturday of the month from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. All 10 of those visits would have to be completed before moving on to the next step. So if Mr. Mendoza comes one time and he doesn't come back for 6 months, he will have to start over with the 10 visits. So it's going to have to be 10 consecutive visits for 10 months for him to move on to the next step. The parties, you, Ms. Jimenez, and Mr. Mendoza, can agree to whatever possession and access that you want to, but this is what we're going to start out with. This will be a schedule that will be attached to the order. You can follow it or not, but at least it will be there for a guide. After those 10 possessions are completed, then it will be unsupervised from 3 p.m. to 5 p.m. So limited in time, you can't go far in 2 hours, but those will be unsupervised for 10 periods of possession that will also have to be completed consecutively before moving into the next step. After that, it will grow in time from Saturday at 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. on the first Saturday of the month for 10 periods of possession. After those are completed, then it will go into one night overnight. So 6 p.m. on Saturday to 6 p.m. on Sunday. After 10 of those periods are completed, it will move into a standard possession order, which is every other weekend, every other holiday, the more common type of possession order. So that's what I'm going to order regarding possession. But like I said, the two of you can agree to whatever possession schedule you want to agree to, whatever you feel comfortable with and the child feels comfortable with. As to retroactive child support, I'm ordering $25,000 in retroactive child support to be paid at $150 per month beginning August 1st, 2024. No retroactive medical, no retroactive dental was testified to, so those will be zero or denied. No non-disclosure will be entered. None was testified to. Court costs will be assessed against Mr. Mendoza to be paid 1 year from today's date. Does that address all of the issues, Ms. Trevino?
Yes, it does, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Any party can ask for a new hearing in this matter within the next 3 days by filing a trial de novo with the Floyd County District Clerk's Office. It must be in writing. It must specify the portion or portions of my ruling in which a new hearing is being requested, and notice must go out to all of the parties, and all the parties must be served as to the trial de novo. Ms. Trevino will draft the order, submit it to me for signature, and then a copy will go out to you, Ms. Jimenez, and to Mr. Mendoza. I appreciate you being here today. That concludes today's hearing, and you're free to disconnect from the